the D Dorian mode, which is in the key of C major. Now the goal of this video is to simply teach you the mode shape, give you a little bit of insight into it, and also sort of a little bit of a chat about how it fits into the C major scale and how we can connect or link the modes together. So we're not going to go into a theoretical debate about the flattened third and flattened seventh and the minor seventh applications and minor tonalities. We're not going into that. We're strictly looking practically at how to play the scale. So without going further, let's learn it. Okay, now we're starting off with fret number 10 because that note is D, and I'm going to call out the fret numbers as we go through it. 10, 12, 13 onto the next string, 10, 12 onto the fourth string, 9, 10, 12 onto the third, 9, 10, 12 again, move back up to the 10th fret, 10, 12, 13, and we finish off on the first string, 10, 12, 13. So that's your basic shape. Now watch how my hand moves down from the 10th fret to the 9th and then back to the 10th. So you can see the small movements as it crosses from your 5th string to the 4th, and then from the 3rd back to the 2nd. Very small, graceful movements. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, in principle, I shouldn't have added that last 12 and 13 because that means I've actually gone past the D note, which I'm tapping with my first finger. I've actually gone past that octave. So in principle, theoretically, Dorian must, if starting on D, end on D. And I thought, yeah, that is cool, but let's be aware of and get used to including these two notes because they're still in the same key, which means I can actually put a little bit of a phrase if I know that those notes are available to me. So I'm just basically making maximum use out of all the notes in this scale, in this said position. Okay, so one more time, a little bit faster now. We're going to include the extra two notes. We're not going to stop on the octave. And let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Have it. Now just quickly on the picking technique, I'd like to point out that the back of my palm is very close to the saddle and I'm using alternating picking, alternate strokes. So it's down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, different angle. Okay, and very important, there are techniques called economy picking and all that, but we want to learn all our scales with up and down strokes the whole way through. Okay, back to the scale. And we've learned the scale ascending and descending. We're now going to descend first and then ascend. So we're going to reverse the process. Now again, for the purists, in principle, yes, I should start on the note D, but as I mentioned, those two notes, E and F, are actually in the key of D Dorian mode, which are in the key of C major, as we mentioned at the beginning of the video. So we're going to play the notes anyway, even though in principle, because I'm starting on F, I'm actually implying another mode. Let's not go there now and just get better control of the scale. Okay, here we go. Descending first and then ascending. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there you have it. So when you're practicing the scales, first ascend, descend. Then descend, ascend. You can see in the corner there, I hope you saw my hand alternating strokes quite nicely there. And that's for starters. Now, what I'd also like to point out as well, we said at the beginning that D Dorian is in the key of C major. So from a theoretical point of view, if I took my C major scale, which I'm sure you should have learned from my previous videos, and again, we add the extra note in. If you look at the notes names, in other words, C, D, E, F, G, for example, the second note, C, is D, and Dorian is the second mode. So the D Dorian is simply the C major scale starting on the second note. So theoretically, I could actually play the C major scale, leave out this note, and I've actually got the same thing. Okay, so the modes are actually sitting inside each other if you want to sort of get more of an abstract approach to it the whole way through. There is a very valid theoretical approach to about tonalities, understanding why a mode is minor, understanding why a mode is major. We're not going to go into it in this video. We will cover that later about minor thirds and all those things. But for now, your purpose was to learn the scale up and play it down. Now, also very important as well is we mentioned the C major, and you've just got your Dorian. You can hear the notes sound very similar because they're all the same notes, just starting on different positions. And because of that, if I can visualize that note, those two notes, that note, and that note as a common ground between there. If I can sort of visualize the interlinking, in other words, here's my first position being the Ionian. There's my second position, the Dorian, which actually goes back to fret 9. They sort of overlap each other, and that's the important word, overlap, which means now from doing a little riff, I can actually cross over. So if I'm improvising, I can actually go from the one shape into the next shape. So once you've got your scales working, that you know this one ascending and this one ascending, obviously descending as well, when you know the two positions, try and cross over. Now cross into the Ionian. Now I'm in the Ionian, back into the Dorian shape, back into the Ionian, and the Ionian is, by the way, the major scale. So the major scale has got a modal name called the Ionian. The Dorian is the second position. They contain the same notes. This goes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. This goes D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. Same notes, just different starting sequence. And I can cross over, etc., etc., etc. I'm not going to sit and bore you with too many riffs, but you got the concept for how they can join together as well. So we're looking at strictly practical. Later we'll cover the theory for the purists because it is important as well. Okay, see you for the next video later when we do the Phrygian up next, but you've got your Dorian underway.